Da, da, da. Oh, what a great piece of music. And a great way to start today's stream. It's gonna be a simple one today. We are taking a look at all the TV shows I watched in 2022. I was almost gonna say 2023. We're not there yet. We are close though. And it's been a lot. I've watched a total of 82 TV seasons. It gets, you know, the differentiation. There's continued series. We got like series in the 6th season, but also limited series shows with a bunch of just I guess short films in there. I gotta turn this down for me. It's a bit loud. I think I got the levels a bit better today when it comes to the music. We'll turn it off once we get to talking about the TV shows. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a short one today. It's not 320. It's about a fourth of that with 82 TV shows. But yeah, glad to see Josh back here, back again at it. If you're watching this in the VOD or live like you are right now, Josh, feel free to drop your favorite TV shows of the year. I'd be interested to hear from some of you, because with TV, it's a bit harder. There's no letterbox where you can sort by popularity or by rating. Unless it's a limited series, then it is on Letterboxd to kind of see what people are watching, what's the most popular. And I feel like it's also way more polarizing. Like, I have a whole list of stuff that I haven't gotten to, and maybe we can kick it off with that. Let's actually switch on over here. And let's turn this down. But yeah, man, I deleted one of them. Can I zoom in here a bit more? I cannot. I can do this. Maybe this helps. Yes. So I got a whole bunch of shows that well, I guess I didn't get to, and some shows that I started but didn't finish. For example, I think I haven't seen anything from Westworld since season 2. I know Industry got a 2nd season. I haven't gotten to that. I've heard a lot of good things about Pachinko. Gangs of New York, Gangs of London, sorry, I haven't seen yet. So a whole bunch of stuff that I might still catch up on. And you know, Josh, you bring up like don't remembering what you watched this year, and I kind of have the same thing. Maybe I can do, no, I won't leak, but I have like a whole spreadsheet where I list every single episode that I watch of any sort of series. I binge for the entirety of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, by the way, this year as well. And I've watched a lot of TV. I think I've definitely watched more TV than I ever have before. But I still didn't get to like some of them. And not like that all of this is quality stuff. Like How I Met Your Father, the 1 or 2 episodes I've seen were pretty disappointing. Only Murders in the Building, I know it's really popular, wasn't really for me. I caught, actually, this goes here. I caught like the few screeners that they sent me for the Santa Clauses, but I think that show is done now. I really want to catch up with Heartstopper. I've heard some good things about it. Behind on What We Do in the Shadows, and yeah, as you can see, also some shows that weren't worth finishing, like Halo. I haven't even started The Crown yet. The Santa Claus, what the fuck is the Santa Claus? Yeah, man, I ask myself that on a daily basis as well. But it's a continuation of, I guess, The Santa Claus, that movie from, I don't know, with when it was. Is it with Tim Allen? Or I don't even know the actor. But he's like getting closer to retirement age. He has, I guess, reasons to maybe quit the North Pole, and the Santa Claus is basically, I think, then goes into, well, there's multiple Santa clauses at the same time. It's really stupid. It was terrible, but maybe like it's okay for a certain audience. I mean, something that was canceled, unfortunately, after just one season, The Midnight Club, and something that just came out that I haven't had a chance to watch just yet is The Witcher Blood Origin. But other than that, I think the biggest shout out to what's worth seeing. I've heard a bunch of good things about We Crashed and some okay things about Tokyo Vice and especially about Industry. But as you can see, I got a whole bunch of shows here that we'll get into. But before we do, is there anything else we need to make sure to have going on? Sorry, I also came into this really last second as well. Oops, a bit of a echo there. Because I was finishing up a video that's gonna come out at the end of the stream that I might still need to upload the thumbnail for. We might do that at the end of the stream. But I don't want to keep you too long today because it is, after all, New Year's Eve. And yeah, so without further ado, because I do have 82 shows here, we do have a preliminary round. I'll just slowly scroll through here so you can have a look at the stuff that will be on this list. It's not scrolling properly. That's annoying. Does this work? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's really annoying. Let's try this again, a bit smoother, smooth as we can. A whole bunch of series we'll be talking about, but there has to be a preliminary round because we don't have a clean 64 candidates or 128, and I wasn't gonna watch like another 40 plus TV shows just for this list. But yeah, going through the whole year, I noticed that I really had seen a whole bunch of TV, and let's just get into it and start off with. I also have like a slight ranking that I had to do, like something like House of the Dragon ranks really highly. By the way, the numbers here refer to not my rating or whatever for it, but the season number as well. There's also a bunch of them that says lim for a limited season or just a one season run, and that's, I guess, the indicator for that. But first up, we got a. I'm trying to pull this up on the screen as well so you can kind of see what I'm talking about as well. First up, Uncoupled against I Am Groot. Uncoupled was the Netflix show led by Neil Patrick Harris. It was just a very bad season of TV. And I also didn't really like I Am Groot, but it's still not as bad as like this really tonally odd season of just something that I shouldn't have finished, but I just kind of finished for, I don't know, whatever reason. I just wanted to finish it, you know, not to quit on it and give my full thoughts on it. But I don't even have any thoughts. It was just really bad, so I'm going with I Am Groot in the first round. We'll get to this in a second. Next up, Pieces of Her. Let's pull this up and have a look at what this was. For some reason, this show apparently isn't even done after just one season. It says on her 30th birthday, out for lunch with her mother, suddenly on her 30th birthday, out for lunch with her mother, suddenly explodes into violence. Am I reading this wrong, or is this just not written really badly and not correctly? Anyways, I'm going to ignore it. It's like this over dramatized thing of there's an attack and they have to deal with it. It was really forgettable. I don't really remember this. And yeah, see, yeah, okay, it wasn't just me reading it. It was written by a toddler. My God, that was horrible. But no, there's also, I guess, going up against it, Cars on the Road, which you'll see a bunch of Disney shows. And I was excited to like get into. I got into the Disney press thing, so they kept sending me stuff, and that was one of the things that they sent me. These little shorts, I guess 9 in total, where Mater and Lightning McQueen go on a road trip. And basically, it's not even a road trip. It's really just a scenario to do like a horror episode, like one in where they like stranded in the desert, and then one with a circus. And it's weird, like they pick up someone from the circus that joins them along for the later half, but then it just kind of tries to put a neat bow into it that it doesn't actually matter who was introduced there, and that person just, I think, leaves again at the end of it. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but that's what's going on with Cars on the Road, and it wasn't very good. I, I think it was worse. I really don't like the Cars franchise. Also, Pieces of Her also wasn't something that I'd shout out, but you'll see a lot of Netflix shows and a lot of, I guess, it was some HBO stuff, maybe also ranking a bit more favorably. But Netflix and Disney Plus is going to be coming up in this quite a bit. I'm back after the massive stream, yes. And after this, I'm enjoying the new year, and I'll be back tomorrow yet again for 2 streams. I'm really looking forward to that. We'll first do our weekly trailer watch that I didn't get to do last week. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we get to watch on the Quiet on Set channel. Be sure to subscribe to that one if you haven't already. And then on this one, we'll do our letterbox review, and I'm gonna ask you to send in your stats and whatever. I think it's like going out to every letterboxed member, even if you don't have the pro or the Patreon status. So that's cool. Maybe we can share them as well, so I can have a look at some of y'all's reviews and recaps. It would be really interesting to see what your cinematic year has been like. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then maybe, because we are doing a recording tomorrow for the Quiet on Set podcast, going over up top 10 of 2022, and also doing our most anticipated with 2023. I've kind of have that in my mind, so we might go over some of the releases for 2023 as well. But yeah, lots of stuff to get into. But yeah, I feel like we are not getting loose of Mater. Mater, I think it's, yeah, Mater, not Mater. I wish he was a Mater, which actually goes in well with Pieces of Her, a Mater in there against Mater. Anyways, getting a bit sidetracked. The next Disney Plus project that's attached to some IP and kind of replacing those, I guess, mid 2000s, or I guess also late 90s sequels, that like something like The Lion King 1.5, I think is what it was called, to kind of have the cheaper produced programming for some of their more established IP. We got this with Baymax, with a bunch of shorts as well, called a Baymax exclamation mark, against Upload 2, which, if you don't know that show, it's basically, it's got I think Robbie Amell, yes, exactly, Robbie Amell in it, and he's being uploaded, his consciousness, after he's passed away, to this afterlife with a bunch of other rich people who, I guess, have that stuff. And it's then the dynamic between his partner and him, and it's all sort of things that are interesting in the concept, but it feels really tacky and almost like just a cheap TV-esque, like cable TV-esque in its execution. But somehow, I guess, Baymax and all of these Disney Plus shows, that's why I also didn't go with Cars, are so boring in the approach. You know, they just kind of do what they intend to do. They put their characters in a scenario, and it just is nothing that's really substantial. We'll get to Zootopia in a bit. I think that pops up fairly soon as well. And I don't know, Upload also was a bit of a miss, but it had still a better execution overall narratively. So I'm going with Upload season 2 over Baymax. Next up, we got actually a quite good matchup here already so early on with Tales of the Jedi. We covered this on the main show as well, the first season of hopefully some more to come, that followed Ahsoka and Count Dooku throughout the years. Now, I'm someone who hasn't seen the Clone Wars series, but Lachlan, my co-host of the Quiet Unsaid podcast, he just finished all of those seasons and actually had a great experience with Tales of the Jedi, and said it was really adding a whole bunch of stuff to the legacy and these characters. I didn't really love it too much, but it is up against the third season of Jack Ryan that just came out. Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. The first one, I think, being set in like Middle East somewhere. The second one was, oh, what was it? I'm blanking. And then the third one is with Russia. Has really timely events. I caught this like about a month ago, although it just came out 10 days ago. I caught this like a month and a half ago. Amazon was really on point with sending out the screeners, and it's okay. It's just so over the top with the constant shootouts that happen here. It's very over the top. Now, one of the highlights is maybe some people know Nina Hoss from her recent appearance in Tar, where she plays, I guess, where she plays the partner of Kate Blanchett. I'm blanking on her name, but now I got it. And she's really great in it. She's also the highlight of this show. And this might be controversial, but I like Tom Clancy a bit more than Tales of the Jedi. Next up, okay, so anyone who kind of knows me a bit knows that I'm a big fan of Paul Mescal. If you tuned into the stream yesterday, you saw that After Sun was my favorite film of the year. And we got another film that's, or not another film, a series that's an adaptation of a Sally Rooney novel. Paul Mescal starred in Normal People alongside Daisy Edgar Jones, and here we get the adaptation of another of Sally Rooney's novels called Conversation with Friends. I read this in anticipation of it because I'm quite a big fan of her writing, and the show I think underdelivers a bit. Also, I mean, Conversation with Friends is not as interesting as Normal People, I'd say. But it's still a very solid show. And then up against it, we got the Amazon Prime show, The Peripheral, with Chloe Grace Moretz. And this is a really high concept sci-fi show that does a lot with virtual reality as you get to, I guess, go somewhere different. It's not really showing a lot of stills with them actually. I guess, well, this is, I guess, a different world that she goes in. It's Sky from Midsommar in this as well. So that's a good bit of fun. It's quite solid. To me, this is a bit of a toss-up between the two of them. I also got to say, I haven't finished the last episode of Peripherals. But I was kind of disappointed going into Conversation with Friends after having read the novel. So I'm going with The Peripheral, although I haven't even finished. I have 1 or 2 episodes more to go of that. And then a limited series that premiered at Gun this year. I didn't catch it there, but got to see it soon after because it was playing on HBO Max with Alicia Vikander. And it's a remake made by the same director who I think did the original film from 1996, Olivier Assas. Okay, I'm not saying the name, but him over here, this guy. It's a limited series that is, I don't know, like this weird blending between an actress but also some supernatural elements, and it's just a bit weird overall. I didn't really connect with it. I found it a bit boring at times, but it's going up against Mike, a mini series on Mike Tyson that at times feels like it's the Clip Notes version of the retellings and made trying to be for like Zoomer culture, but it's so quick pace where it goes over a lot of like really interesting moments of his life and just just you don't get to experience it, but I think it's still because I'm quite a big fan of boxing. I prefer Mike over Imma Web. But yeah, no, we'll get to the bear in a second. I think that matchup comes later on. I think it's a secured second round. We got a bunch more TV shows to go through. The scrolling here is not working. I'm axe throwing. By the way, you have to select a category to do these brackets, and there's not one for movies, so I just have to select like something random each time. But yeah, let me choose Mike over Irma Web. We'll get to this second round here in a second. But next up, we got Undone against Paper Girls. Paper Girls was another Amazon Prime show that unfortunately got canceled after the first season. Straight away, it didn't do the numbers that I guess they anticipated. This is based on a graphic novel, but I'm blanking on the artist's name. About four friends who then get to time travel. It's an interesting show. It really goes all out with the sci-fi things, but it doesn't completely nail it. But Undone just continues on. It's I think done now. I don't know if they're doing it. No, I think maybe they're doing a third season. But it's just really effective. We got Bob Odenkirk as the dad a bit more in this, and it's this another like kind of time travel show in a sense that uses some really interesting rotoscope animation, and I really like it. So I'm moving. I'm letting that advance over Paper Girls. Next up, we got the Nicholas Refn Nicholas, oh, fuck, I forgot one of his Copenhagen cowboy. What's his name? Refn, I guess. Nicholas Winding Refn. I caught this in Venice, but only caught the first half, and the last few episodes are now dropping on Netflix soon. Against Love Victor season 3. I really liked the first season of Love Victor, and the second was kind of decent as well. I feel like it's kind of fallen off where it's not as interesting anymore, where these romantic stories. I'm reading a book at the moment that got recommended to me. I'm blanking on its name, but it's basically about love, and it's written by a philosopher, and it's like telling the story, a love story, but then is all like interjected by passages that are written in italics compared to like the standard one where he kind of contemplates on what love is. And long story short, I feel like a lot of TV shows do the initial butterflies getting to fall in love with someone, have that initial relationship and the start of it quite well. And then I guess in theme of, you know, young love, not really knowing what it is. And once the intensity goes away, you don't know what to do anymore. It also feels like the narrative, then the stories don't really know what to do anymore, because you can do that really effectively on film, like that wanting. And you can't do it as well to just say, well, what is love? Baby don't hurt me. And Love Victor has kind of just gotten there, where it's like looking for the pairings. And what TV does then a lot of times is like give them a reason to split up, but then come back again, together again. And I just find that really repetitive and kind of boring. So unfortunately, that doesn't advance further on. But Copenhagen Cowboy releasing in a couple of days. I guess it's a 2023 show, if I'm being totally honest about it, because it hasn't dropped anywhere other than, I guess, the Venice premiere. But be on the lookout for that. It's very weird, but we'll get to talking about it a bit more in the next round. Then the okay, so the Dharma series was a big hit before, I guess, Wednesday came and just made that the talk of yesterday. So this can be named Tuesday now. That's a funny joke. No, this limited series that I think they'll continue in some sort of way. Ryan Murphy, I think, has said that he'll maybe like focus on other Serial killers, I just find it really fucking weird to dramatize this. It's so odd. It's done in a quite effective way, but it's just kind of gross. I don't know. I really didn't like Dharma. It was like it's a good TV show, I think. It's good at that, but it's just like I don't want it to be good. It's like this weird. Even though you're condemning the actions, obviously, you're still dramatizing it, and it just rubs me the wrong way. Where like something like Mindhunter, which is also on Netflix, did that way better, and was way more about how grotesque these are, and then like it was way more a character study overall with the characters involved in interviewing them, and it was more about us, I guess, taking a closer look at them. Not really breaking down why we do it or why we're so interested, but I've seen some weird shit coming out of Dharma and the fascination with serial killers that I don't think is like healthy. And Ryan Murphy really does a lot of this shit. Well, I mean, he's also responsible for Glee. I don't really particularly like American Horror Story, but he's only a producer on that. The prom fucking sucked. I haven't seen The Watcher, but I've heard some just mediocre things about it. Let's just see. I just kind of want to shit on him now. Let's see what he's directed because I don't really like it. Ratchet, I've also haven't seen, but like, don't taint the legacy of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Why are you doing that? It's just no, don't do it. Even if it's a decent show. So yeah, not a fan. He was the director of Scream Queens. I don't like the kind of horror direction, the psychological horror direction, which focuses on killers on that side at all. And Dead to Me, Dahmer is Dead to Me, but Dead to Me season 3 was not as great as the first, and then the second season, which also was less good than the first one of Dead to Me, but it had a beautiful ending, made me cry. Really, Josh is saying he's homophobic too, which I don't know about anything about that, so I can't really say anything about that. Although he's game, so well, that's like I don't know, that happens quite a bit as well. You know that people who are marginalized themselves, them like haters. It's anyways. I don't want to get into that. Let's move on to some better stuff like That to Me, a show that I can really recommend. Had a nice little tie ending and got to finish its run over on Netflix, which you can't always get with these shows. Okay, next. Okay, next up, I'm embarrassed to say that I watched all 3 seasons of High School Musical, the series. But yeah, it's interesting because they completely just wrote out Olivia Rodrigo's character in the show, to whatever background stuff that's going on that I feel way too old to be involved. But this last season, like the first two were fine. They were still really cringe, and I was just like kind of watching because it's entertaining to just see. But oh my god, this season was so bad. It was really bad. It's one of the worst things I've seen all year. And A League of Their Own, I think, also didn't get renewed. I'm not entirely sure, but that one was quite solid. I guess remake of the film from the I don't know, like 30 years ago or something like that. But I mean, Olivia is still in there, but she's just basically like, hey, I'm like on the other side of America. You're like in this camp, and I'm doing my career. They're doing some weird stuff with it that I don't know. The first, like, I agree with you, Wiley. The first 2 seasons were all right. They were watchable. But it's just become really unwatchable at this point. Okay. Next up, speaking of unwatchable, Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson himself is in this little, how should I describe it? Not an anthology show, but a limited show called Man vs. Bee. That's taking its, I guess, thing very literally, because it is literally a man against a bee. He's like housekeeping, and then he just completely tears the place apart because of a very digital looking bee. And it's just really bad. And then Human Resources, another Netflix show. that is a spin-off of the very popular Big Mouth series that will get to its sixth season later on as well. That I think didn't really succeed. It has some returning characters, some of them that and then I think focuses on a love bug, a new one. It's okay. It's really not horrible, but it's also more hit than miss with the comedy. But it's not as bad as Man versus B. So yeah, that's that. Oh, you started the show. I feel like you should just quit after the first season of that. I think the second one also doesn't have like a fun musical that they do, the High School Musical one. Anyways, okay, we're still in the spin-off sphere talking about Diabolical, the spin-off from, is it, oh, The Boys Diabolical? Is it still The Boys Diabolical? Here, The Boys presents Diabolical. This is a spin-off show that's also animated, telling some of the stories from some of the characters we know, and then some of them that we don't know. It's an interesting project, but I feel like it kind of missed the mark with a lot of the episodes where it wasn't really that entertaining. But Boo Bitch is, I guess, just driven by the vehicle that is the one and only Lana Condor that I know a lot of people love. She, I guess, is the lead of the To All the Boys trilogy, and she's in Moonshot as well. Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. It was just really annoying, though. I'm definitely not the target audience here at all. But the boys over this. I'm also looking forward to the second season. Hopefully they do some more interesting stuff here. Okay, so this is another like two things that are kind of embarrassing. So I got the 13th season of Taskmaster in this. I don't even know which one is in there. I kind of started to watch the show going into the pandemic, and there's just a lot of fun to be had with these. It's basically, I guess, the Taskmaster giving 5 people tasks, and they have to do them, and usually like the different personalities really come and shine out here with some British comedians just doing some really fun stuff. I really enjoyed it, and Big Shot season 2. It's another one of these like Disney Plus shows that I don't know why I watched them. It's with John Stamos, and he's a big shot that's not a big shot anymore because he has some rage problems, get thrown out of the NBA, and is now coaching at a private, really rich people, whatever, all girls school. And yeah, it's just it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and it's like Hallmark quality type of thing. So I'm definitely going with Taskmaster. It's weird because it's like not even a narrative show. But yeah, I'm doing it. This is my show. I do whatever I want. But Taskmaster's amazing. So if you haven't seen it, I think, oh, what's it? I think the season with James Acaster is incredible. I don't know if that's season 5 or season 7 or something like that. That one's the goat. There's quite a few good ones. I think 5 and 7, if I'm not mistaken, are like my personal favorites. So go check that out. I think they're all like streaming on YouTube if you want to see them. So really easy to watch. Go check that out. Next up, we got Reboot with a quite star-filled cast, I'd say, with like I guess Judy Greer, most notably, Keegan-Michael Key, Johnny Knoxville, and this reboot of it's a comedy series about a reboot of a sitcom that popped off like 20 years before, and then they're rebooting it. It is the type of comedy that has like a 50-50 type of like with the jokes that land and that don't land. So that's quite disappointing for a TV show. And although I wasn't the biggest fan of the Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, I still really champion that idea of putting your name in front of something, and with that giving the show giving like a budget and showcase to like a bunch of filmmakers that get to do something outside of I guess the usual form of having to do a feature film or just a short film. It's like something in between here, with like usually 60-minute long episodes. And although I didn't like most of the episodes, if I'm being honest, I quite liked, well, Pigman's model was okay, but mostly the viewing, which also comes from the director who did Mandy, so great stuff there. So I'm definitely going with Guillermo del Toro, uh, Cabinet of Curiosities over Reboot. Okay. Next up, we got Prehistoric Planet against She-Hulk Season 1. It's the first of the MCU shows that comes up here. Prehistoric Planet was this David Attenborough narrated digital, I guess, rendering of a bunch of dinosaurs. Why are there a bunch of chameleons in here? So, okay, these are the actual stills. And it's done really beautifully. I think it's amazing what came out of this. I think it's an Apple TV Plus show, and I feel like that's the best place to go streaming. Lachlan and I talk about it all the time. That Apple TV Plus or Apple just knocks it out of the park with the streaming quality that some other places are really lagging behind. I think Netflix does a great job as well. They're quite good with it, but something like Disney has a really bad streaming. Sorry, I gotta sneeze again. A really bad player overall. Hold up. Let me continue on Vivaldi while I sneeze. While I blow my nose. Okay. Yes. Prehistoric Planet is I mean, talking about She-Hulk, I don't know. It's just a show that does the fourth wall breaks, that has a great leading actress with Tatiana Maslany, but it just misses in every other aspect that I didn't really like it. And Prehistoric Planet is definitely not as popular as She-Hulk, and consistently worth checking out. So I'm picking that over She-Hulk. And then okay, the aforementioned Zootopia Plus has arrived. Against Outer Range with Josh Brolin, the sci-fi new show over on Prime Video. Yes, exactly. Already renewed for a second season. We also got Imogen Potts and yeah, a bunch of other extending casts that are quite decent in it, but there's a big old hole on the land, and I think we'll later get to a bit more of sci-fi with Netflix's 1899, that does that a bit better than Outer Range, I think, but it's definitely better than the mess that was Zootopia Plus, which is just really, really bad. Definitely skip out on that one. But yeah, next up we got Miss Marvel season 1 against Rick and Morty season 6, which I gotta I gotta say, this is kind of a hard matchup for me because I feel like both were good in parts, but also quite disappointing in other ways. And I don't really know which one to go with here. It could be a coin toss, but I liked some of the Rick and Morty episodes quite a bit, but I overall also found Miss Marvel quite refreshing. And just the lead here, what's her name again? Iman Vellani. She's great as Camila Khan. I feel like Rick and Morty has just also a lot of scenes that missed for me in a huge way. So might be one of the only Marvel shows that moves it on. It might be like, apart from Loki, which was last year, my favorite out of the MCU shows. So yeah, bye bye Rick and Morty. Go turn yourself into a pickle or something. Let's move on to another thing that has 6 seasons and is kind of becoming unfunny, and that's Big Mouth season 6 against Made for Love. But it's weird with Made for Love because it had an quite interesting first season. We of course got the one and only amazing Kristen Milioti in it that already advanced with Dead to Me season 3, but Made for Love season 2 might just get her kicked out of the race because it is about her being, I guess, having this implant in her head and being basically just a restricted housewife that doesn't get to leave and just being like a token, what's it called? Like not a trophy wife at this stage to a billionaire rich tech guy. And it just kind of misses the whole mark for this season, and it's just really bad, and it got canceled. And I can understand because it really wasn't worth renewing. Although Big Mouth, I'm still gonna watch another season of Big Mouth. I don't know if I would have watched another season of Made for Love, so that moves on to the next round, and we are done with the preliminary round, and we now got our top 64 of the show. And let's get into it. First up, the HBO Game of Thrones prequel series, House of the Dragon. I think I just saw a tweet earlier today that George R. R. Martin said that the other projects that were in the work, the other prequel shows, were cancelled, which is disappointing because I think this one really nails it, and it's definitely better than I Am Groot. Next up, the second to last season of the Umbrella Academy was just not good, in my opinion. I didn't really like it that much. It was just kind of okay and just got a bit too convoluted. I know they're ending it with the next season. I'll finish it, but Mythic Quest, although it has missed, and it's still one more episode to go, the season is not done yet, has had a bit of an okay mid-season run, but the last two episodes that I saw now that I watched earlier today were phenomenal. I loved them a lot. So Mythic Quest season 3 moves on. Wednesday, the arguably most hyped and most popular show of the year, got its first season. It's definitely getting another one against Pieces of Her, which already kind of just narrowly made it through to this round. Is getting kicked out for the one and only Jenna Ortega. So let's move on with that. Then Upload season 2 is not as good as The Sandman. We'll talk a bit more about that show as two Netflix shows go up against each other in the next round. Got some more to say on that. Another Netflix show, man. Netflix is really supported, represented here in a strong way. But Cyberpunk Edge Runners is amazing. I loved it. I didn't get like at the Game Awards. I think it lost out to Arcane. I feel like I might have even preferred Cyberpunk Edge Runners over Arcane, although both of them are amazing animated Netflix shows. And Tom Clancy's alright, but none of the seasons from Tom Clancy come anywhere close to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So that's that. Next up, Our Flag Means Death, the Taika Waititi led. I don't know if he's also. Why did I type in his name? Our Flag Means Death. Who's directing it? The writers, a bunch of people. Anyways, it's just a really fun show that I found super entertaining. And the Kanye trilogy, I think there was a lot of hype for that documentary, and now I guess the third part of it has become more and more relevant as it's like, I don't know, the documentarian here put himself too much into the story because he kind of lost track of Kanye and then didn't get to continue telling his story in that way. And I feel like it was interesting for the first two episodes, and the third one was just kind of bad. And seeing where Kanye ended up at this point, I'm not letting that advance, so go fuck off and be racist some other place, Kanye. We'll move with the funny show. Arcane, while you say Arcane is perfect, I agree. I mean, even the needle drops that are like cheesy as fuck are so fun. And Cyberpunk is that for me as well. I feel like both of them do this odd thing of having a time jump. I don't know if that's like, I don't know why it was so similar that way. And I guess I kind of preferred the time jump in Cyberpunk a bit more than I did in Arcane. It had to reel me back in, but still, like, it's really, really good. Okay. The Peripheral against Winning Time. It's been a fun ride with the Peripheral, but Winning Time, we'll talk a bit more about that basketball show in a second. Really is visually one of the most interesting series I've seen in a while. Next up, the Obi-Wan Kenobi limited series with Ewan McGregor returning against the clickbaity series that dropped as more things came to being unwielded and unwelled. No, definitely not unwelled. I'm unwell at this point about Elizabeth Holmes, which, yeah, I think was a rushed series and a decent performance from Amanda Seyfried. But although the Obi-Wan show really wasn't good as well, the end fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, where he fully becomes Darth Vader to Obi-Wan as well, was done quite well. All of the rest was unfortunately a bit of a miss. Okay. Next up, the rehearsal, the Nathan Fielder weird experiment show that has also gotten a second season against the, I guess I put it here as the first season, but it's, I think, the limited series of Mike stands no chance against Nathan Fielder. He would probably practice to punch Mike Tyson about 30 times until he realizes that maybe I shouldn't punch him, and then he punches himself. That's kind of what the rehearsal feels like. But yeah. Anyways, okay. Season 4 of Stranger Things against Hacks Season 2. I don't know if did Hacks end or is it getting another season? Sorry, I need to sneeze again. I'm a bit sick. I'm sorry about that. But no, it is getting a third season, so that's exciting to see. About two stand up comedians, one of them a veteran, the other one her new assistant and writer. It's a fun dynamic, but season 1 was like really good, and then season 2 improved on some things, became a bit more boring in other aspects. And season 4 of Stranger Things was just a wild ride. And although I'm not the biggest fan of the show, other than season 1, which I thought was quite solid, the fourth season has kind of brought it back to be one of the major contenders for, TV shows. Okay, next up, The Boys season 3 against Undone season 2. Now, I feel like Undone season 1 was really amazing. The second one was quite good as well. Does it live up to Boys season 3? I don't think it does. Although season 3 is probably the weakest of the boy seasons so far. I like the introduction of Soldier Boy in the mix, and it's still fun, and I still want to see more of that universe. So for that reason, I'll let it advance. I definitely won't do that to the Book of Boba Fett, which I'll put out of its misery very fast. Here we are talking about Atlanta Season 3, which came out earlier in 2022. We also got Atlanta Season 4 later on, which I can already tell you ranks a bit higher than Atlanta Season 3, but maybe we'll get to see them. I probably won't see them go up against each other, but two really good seasons to a show that has now concluded. But yeah, Barry Season 3 against Copenhagen Cowboy. To me, this is really easy as well. Copenhagen Cowboy was interesting, but Barry Season 3 might be its best season yet. It's one of the best TV shows, and we'll get to talk about it a bit more later on. I can't see the same thing about Euphoria Season 2, which is just, it just kind of lost it. And Murder Will was this really fun show where we get, I quite like improv when it's done, I guess, well, and it does it here with Will Arnett and a bunch of really fun guests. Kumail Nanjiani was probably my favorite. Ken Jeong was also really amazing. The Con episode was great. So there's some fun guests that he just gets to mess with, and yeah, I quite liked it. Okay, so this is another really tough matchup. The first season of Yellow Jackets, about the soccer team that gets stranded in the wilderness because they are in a plane crash that crashes them in the Canadian wilderness. Against Dead to Me, the series conclusion. To me, I think Dead to Me was a nice tie-in to a really strong series overall, but Yellow Jackets is the more stacked season overall, where I'm really curious to where they go next, and I know where That to Me ends up, and it's all right, but doesn't beat it out here. Cobra Kai season 5 against the Staircase. To me, all Cobra Kai seasons kind of blend into this weird mess that they all kind of become the same to me at some point, and they're just not, they're very over the top. Although I wasn't the biggest fan of the Staircase, which is a show about a like murder trial thing. With it's got like a stacked cast with Tony Collette, Michael Stuhlbarg, Colin Firth, about like a husband who might or might not have killed his wife, and it shows you different scenarios as you go through the court case, and it's like this weird over dramatization of somewhat real events as you speculate on it. It was okay, but nothing that, I mean, I can already tell you it's not beating out Yellow Jackets in the next round. Let's quickly let Atlanta move over a league of their own, because Atlanta truly is in a league of their own. Next up, the Dexter anthology, I guess sequel series. Was quite weak to see him as the actual woodchopper, having a son and having all of that. Was not really worth it, and Love Death Robot season 3 had quite some fun little moments. White Lotus, I really was. It was such a good bit of fun to watch this weekly, and it's definitely better than Human Resources. Ozark season 4 against The Boys Diabolical. Although I'm not as high on some of these drug shows as we get to Better Call Saul later on, ending this year, it still was a bit better than The Boys Diabolical, which is interesting in concept, but didn't get to do things as well as maybe something like Love, Death, and Robots does. But maybe in the second season they get to improve on it. Next up, Taskmaster season 13 against We Own the City. I like Taskmaster, but that's the end of the road for it here. We Own the City is an amazing John Bernthal led crime show about the Baltimore Police Department that is corrupt to the core. It's really great. I really like this. So it moves on. Space Force, it got cancelled after this season because it was really bad. The first season already wasn't great. Blackbird, though, the limited series on Apple TV Plus with Joel Taron, not Joel, Taron Edgerton. It's quite good. Next up, Peacemaker against Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Not the biggest fan of horror. Didn't like most of the episodes here. I still I think it's a great concept, though. But Peacemaker surprised me positively. Not a show that I was looking forward to at all. But somehow John Cena really turned this around for me, and I ended up quite liking it. Now, okay, Under the Banner of Heaven, this limited series with Andrew Garfield about a bunch of extremist Mormons. Really captivating show overall, with a really great performance from Andrew Garfield. And up against, I guess, the first half of season 2 of Abbott's Elementary. It got renewed for a second season and is currently on break until early, I guess, 2023. And it's okay. I feel like it's definitely becoming a bit more TV-esque, where the first season kind of had to prove that it's worth staying around. This latest season, I think, has like 25 episodes or something like that. We had, how many did we get in season 1? Yeah, we got like 13 episodes, which is just a shorter series overall. And now we are getting almost double the amount with 22 episodes. And it's had some fun ones, but also some where they just go with a concept a bit too hard, where it's just a bit much at times. So I prefer the more stern, sadder series of Under the Banner of Heaven. Next up, I'm sorry for Prehistoric Planet, but Better Call Saul is easy moving this on. We'll get to talk this very late in this bracket. I can already tease that. The Harry and Meghan limited series against Pam and Tommy. Interesting that these two. This is totally random, by the way. These are matched up. That's kind of funny. So this was about, I guess, the royal family, the partation, whatever, of these two. But it felt like a bit thrown together, and a lot of moments where like they address the camera and it's like, this is the moment where this happened, and it happens like 15 times as they like go over something uh again and again, and it made its point really early on, but then I think it's like 6 episodes. It's way too long. And Pam and Tommy was a good bit of fun. I really like both Sebastian Stan and what's her name? I'm blanking on her name, but some really great performances there that I quite enjoyed. So easy one for that. It's not looking too great, although in the next matchup, yeah, Lily James, thank you. It's my I keep blanking on her name, although I'd say like she probably would be or has been for a while my biggest celebrity crush. Don't tell her. Wally, I'm looking at you again. Don't dare tweeting like you threatened to do yesterday. Don't you dare tweet at Lily James. But yeah, she's amazing. No, stop it, Wiley. Anyways, next up we got Outer Range against Andor. I really liked Andor. It's unfortunately a bit underwatched when it comes to the Star Wars series. I noticed then when I did my review that it didn't get a lot of views, which is totally the indicator of how well the series is doing. I think our Wednesday review has like a couple thousand views. But no, jokes aside, I feel like not a lot of people ended up watching Andor, which is disappointing. Um, but I'm looking forward to more series, and Gareth Adams, or what's his name? No, Tony Gilroy. Sorry, I think he is the showrunner over here. Yeah, Tony Gilroy. Sorry. Why did I say that in such a Canadian way? Uh, anyways, Andor. Looking forward to more out of that universe. The small scale Star Wars stuff is a lot of fun. Next up, Russian Doll season 2. Against Lord of the Rings of Power. I thought the Lord of the Rings show was really bad. I didn't want to say it like that harshly when we did the review because I kind of wanted to appease the fans, but now that they've maybe come around and seen that this isn't also that great, maybe it's a bit easier to say, but oh man, I didn't like the show at all. And Russian Doll just continues what Russian Doll season 1 did great, ended up closing out the show, I think, and it was a lot of fun. So go check out Russian Doll. That's streaming on Netflix if you haven't seen it yet. Next up, okay, the much anticipated. I know I like Miss Marvel, but do we even have to go over this? The Bear, one of the surprise hits from this year, the chef show about the Chicago sandwich shop that gets well, loses a brother and gains one. That's all I'll say. But it's amazing, like how fast paced the kitchen sequences are. Great stuff in here. And okay, so this next matchup is also a bit unfortunate. 1899, I think, is a series that will prove itself to be quite interesting in future seasons. Hopefully, ending up where it delivers on the promises that it made, like the big swings that it already unveiled at the end of season 1, where I feel like they could have dragged it out a bit more. I don't know. I think Dark was really great. It comes from the filmmakers of Dark. Was really great at always keeping you at arm's length when it comes to revealing stuff. And I feel like they over revealed a bunch of stuff in 1899. Players though, I think no one really saw this show. I'm definitely misspelled that in a horrible way. Is like follows a League of Legends team, which I don't care about. I've never played League of Legends. But Arcane is great, and this show is also pretty fun. And follows does like the spoof on sports documentaries, but does it for esports. And although it switches up its characters like from episode to episode, that's probably the weakest thing about it. Cream Cheese seems to be a different person, having some serious mental disorder in some shape or form. It's still really interesting, so I'm putting that one on the radar. Go check that out. uh Halo, yeah, no, Halo No, Halo. Sorry, was on here on the stuff that I. I'll give you a quick overview and bit of time to hold on. Why is it like selected here? Can I? Okay. What the fuck is happening? Well, no, these are the shows that I didn't end up finishing. And where's Halo? It's down here. It's one of the shows where I watched like 3 or 4 episodes and then I quit. A couple more shows that I don't feel comfortable talking about. Like Mythic Quest, I watched all but 1 episode, so I feel like fine talking about it. The Peripheral as well. But yeah, Halo just wasn't very great. It's not been a great year for adaptations of I guess games, but when it's a fictional retelling of a bunch of players in League of Legends, it works quite well. Okay, by Big Mouth, Severance is amazing. Is your favorite game and the show is one of the worst? Yeah, I feel like that was the response for a lot of Halo fans, that it just completely missed the mark on what it should have done. And yeah, it just was also quite boring. And the stuff that I hear that happens later on, this really doesn't want to make me go watch it, unless like for a lot of the stuff, I guess it's fine if you like do it as a drinking game or whatever and poke fun at it. But I don't even know if that's worth it. Okay, Moon Knight, another MCU show. With Oscar Isaac at the center of it, and we already talked about Under the Banner of Heaven. This is Keep Sweet and Obey. This is the same story, Pray and Obey, but as a documentary, and it's a Netflix documentary. I'm surprised that what's his name, the Dharma director, isn't involved in this. But I guess it's better. That's why he's not involved. Ryan Murphy. But Moon Knight is better than Keep Sweet and Obey, Pray and Obey, but it's pretty good. It's worth checking out. And I feel like all of the remaining 32 shows are at least worth see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that I would like strongly advise someone to not check out. So this is already a great list of things to catch up on if you haven't already. But we'll do another roundup once we get to the Sweet 16. Mythic Quest Season 3 is quite okay, but House of the Dragon easily beats this. Now, this is a tough matchup. I enjoyed Wednesday. I noticed there was a difference on direction once, what's his name? A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's coming to me. Tim Burton wasn't directing it anymore. But I was kind of really pleasantly surprised by The Sandman. I really enjoyed. I'm sorry, Wiley. I'm kicking out Wednesday. It's the end of the road here. We've moved on. It's Saturday now, and we're choosing the S Day of Sandman, which is a controversial pick. I know. Wednesday is really popular. Maybe not the type of show that is like completely for me, and that's like totally fine, you know. But The Sandman, I kind of enjoy these are really both dark shows, and I think Wednesday didn't fully commit to being dark. It just had the murder mystery at the center of it, and ended up having like a technically dark character in there, but she got to uncover something, and I would have more appreciated if her things were more in the center of it. You know, her like obsession with murder and all of that stuff was more in there, and it was less like love story type of stuff. But yeah, it is very similar to Harry Potter. I actually agree. This actually will maybe end up being something really popular with people similar to like Harry Potter was, but obviously on a smaller scale and with less material to go off on. And I think Sandman is one of those shows that gets a second season, I think, and had that special as well. And it probably will get canceled after season 2, although it's really unique. And I just really like now I'm thinking Tony Gilroy, but that's Neil Gaiman. I haven't pulled it up here, but Neil Gaiman is just an amazing writer, and I kind of want to see more of his stuff. Okay, Cyberpunk Edge Runners against Our Flag Means Death. I like that show. It's worth checking out, but Cyberpunk is just amazing TV. Next up, Bye Bye Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are losing out against Winning Time easy. Okay. Next up, the rehearsal against Stranger Things, season 4. Stranger Things just continues on what it's doing well. And doing that again. The rehearsal is something truly unique, and I can't really say that about Stranger Things, which just feels like it's back on track with season 1, but it's very similar to the previous seasons. And the rehearsal is. I don't know where it goes each episode. It's so thrilling to watch. So definitely stick with that one. Atlanta season 3 against the boys season 3. Um, Although Atlanta season 3 had like those anthology episodes that were a bit all over the place, easily this goes to Atlanta, although I do really like the boys. Just Atlanta is just that bitch. It just beats out pretty much everything. Um, 2 episodes into Atlanta season 3, yeah. I feel like you don't really miss much if you skip the entirety of season 3 and then go to season 4. They don't really do much that's impactful for the story overall, but it's just beautiful how it plays out in season 4. I really loved it. We'll get more to it as it advances in this bracket again. Murderville is fun, but Barry is just breathtakingly amazing. Yellow Jackets over the staircase, easy, but oh my god, now it's lagging again. Okay, easy Barry. Barry has to move on. It's just such an amazing season that improves each time. It gets like darker, less funny as it moves on. But man, Bill Hader is such an amazing director. Such a great surprise. And I'm so looking forward to the last. Well, we'll talk about it in a second. Well, I'm looking forward to the last season of Barry. Atlanta season 4 now against Love, Death and Robots. Let's see. Let's have a quick look at like Love, Death and Robots and which of the episodes I like the most. But I mean, you already know it's Atlanta, obviously. But season 3 it was? Yeah, season 3. Okay, Bad Traveling by, was that the one by David Fincher? That one was okay, but I think it gets the 8.7 rating because it is by David Fincher. I enjoyed Night of the Mini Dead, which is pretty sweet. Swarm, Kill Team Kill, I didn't like. Mason's Rat was okay. Also didn't like Jibaro. So I think like overall this was to me kind of the weakest season of Love, Death and Robots. But I like Bad Traveling and I guess Night of the Mini Dead and Mason's Rats. But I'm definitely going with Atlanta. I think binging Barry is like you can track when you're happy to when you're sad as you like watch it more and more. It definitely impacts you that way. If you do it in a binge, you can probably like psychologically analyze it. The second season of The White Lotus, I like this more than season 1. I really like the Italian landscape and the characters within it. Didn't like the ending, if I'm being honest. Obviously not spoiling here. I preferred Ozark's ending over The White Lotus, but overall, this is a hard one. Um, it's different because like this is still White Lotus is still in the weekly model, and then Ozark dropped 2 halves of the series, and you just kind of binge it. And I prefer to binge to not binge something. It became like a thing to keep talking about each week, and it was worth talking about. And I feel like Ozark had like a couple moments that might have been worth talking about. I noticed that with like Better Call Saul, of how amazing it was to have like a bit of breathing time in between. So no fault to the series overall, but it just felt way more memorable and impactful overall because of that. Next up, yeah. Rocket Man is in prison and having to infiltrate a weird little murder boy, but we own the city. It's just the goat. Peacemaker against Under the Banner of Heaven. Surprisingly, I'm going with the more lighthearted show of Peacemaker. Really a fun series. Pam and Tommy was okay, pretty good, but doesn't beat Better Call Saul. Russian Doll against Andor. I really liked the first half of Andor quite a bit. Didn't really love some of the other parts of it, but Russian Doll was also a bit confusing. It's less like cohesive overall compared to the first season, which is just like kind of a repeating the day in kind of Groundhog Day scenario, and season 2 is a bit more of I'm going on this train and time traveling, and It went a bit too much all over the place for me. So I'm sticking with Andor. Players against the Bear, easy. The Bear moves on, and then Severance against Moon Knight. Moon Knight moves into the Sweet 16. Okay. I really like the Sandman, but House of the Dragon was amazing. I know some people liked the beginning more, liked the ending more, didn't like some of the developments. I just love the show from beginning to end. This is a really hot matchup now. Okay. Um I know winning time. We haven't talked about winning time enough yet. So I feel like pulling it up here, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. I binged through all of this series. It follows professional and personal lives of the 1980s Lakers, and has John C. Riley in there. And then I think we get I'm not as familiar with basketball, although I think it's a great sport to follow, but has some great performances. Yeah, Adrian Brody is also in this. Jason Segel, just really a lot of fun from beginning to end. I'm really looking forward to even more, more seasons of this. But I only am getting one for Cyberpunk, and I really adored it. So call me whatever. I haven't even played Cyberpunk. What's it called? Keanu Reeves, whatever. But yeah, gotta go with Cyberpunk over Winning Time, but just so narrowly. I think they're both like really really great shows to watch. The Rehearsal against Atlanta season 1, season 3. Rehearsal wins it out over this. Just because I do know that something greater is coming for Atlanta later on. Barry against the Yellow Jackets, easy. It's got to be Barry. Atlanta season 4 against the White Lotus season 2, another easy one. Got to be Atlanta. We Own the City against Peacemaker. Interesting matchup here. I'm kind of torn. I feel like I like the talk around We Own the City, and I like every aspect of it. I think I had an overall better time with Peacemaker though, so I'm picking that one over that limited series. Better Call Saul against Andor. I like Andor, but it's nowhere close to Better Call Saul to me. And then Severance against the Bear. Oh my god, this is a tough matchup here. Okay, so there's a lot of hype for Severance, and I feel like it deserves some of the hype. I'm not completely there with the show yet to be like up there with the quality of something like Succession, or it hasn't really done that for me yet. It's done a really great setup. It has made some interesting promises. The Bear has delivered. It fucking over delivered. It gave me some extra fries with all the condiments I wanted. It shoved it down my throat, and I said, thank you, give me more, please. So I'm moving on with The Bear here. Some great stuff. And if you haven't checked it already, definitely go give it a watch. It's worth checking out, and I think it's on Disney Plus, internationally on Hulu in the States. And these are really the pinnacle of shows. It's interesting that Peacemaker snuck its way in there. It's such a surprising highlight to me that this is like a top 8 show of the year for me. I'm really surprising myself here. But yeah, that's it. Let's do the hard stuff and crown a winner. This, like, I've never, that's how I do these brackets. I kind of rank them just loosely. So I do have a matchup that like doesn't pin them up too early against each other. But I never look at, never actively try to think of which one I do prefer, which makes this really interesting to me as well. But this first matchup, although I love Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I really do have a soft spot for Game of Thrones, and it has reignited my love for it after that disappointing, obviously, series finale for the original show. But this has me very hopeful for the future of Game of Thrones. Barry against The Rehearsal. I'm a big fan of The Rehearsal. It's weird, too weird at times to continue. I had to pause it a lot because I just got too uncomfortable, and I was screaming at my screen to stop people from doing what they are doing. I just wanted it to stop at times. Barry, I just wanted to rewatch as soon as I was done with an episode. It was just amazing. So yeah. Ewan, it's okay to pick Better Call Saul because it's the last season of Saul and we got another of Bear. Okay, so you already prepared for me further down as we go down this list. Well, we'll get to it in a second because this is gonna be a quick one. Although Peacemaker did make it in the top 8, it's definitely number 8 in the series overall, and Atlanta is higher up. So moving that over it. And okay, so I'm glad I got your okay, Wiley, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Because I'm a sucker for Better Call Saul. I think there's even the case to be made that it's better than Breaking Bad at points. I feel like Breaking Bad is definitely stronger to like it's easier to recommend to people from beginning to start, and Better Call Saul. I think some people say that the first 4 seasons until we get some of the villainous characters introduced are not as impactful, not as interesting to watch. I found them riveting from season 1 at the start. I'm not even retroactively like retconning my own experience of the series. I loved it, and Bob Odenkirk is fucking amazing in the show. And maybe we can already go over and do this matchup against Atlanta because it might be these 4 shows really make this year an outstanding year. If we got Succession this year, it probably would have been in here, but that came out I think just before at the end of 2022. I'm looking forward to it next year. So I'm thankful that that's not in the conversation because that would have made it infinitely more difficult. But I feel like at this stage, although I've more recently seen Atlanta, I'm going with Better Call Saul to move into the finale. I hope you guys can forgive me. But it's great. It's just great. And okay, this might be an even tougher matchup though because Barry against House of the Dragon. No, it's actually easy. It's Barry. It's Barry. It's Barry. That season is just it's so great. I don't know if it gets any better than that. And he wrote himself into the corner of how he ended it. I'm not spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it just oh man, the acting performances, the writing, the cinematography, the staging, the everything just comes together in that series. That it's like a car wreck or like a crash that's about to happen, and you're like edging on it happening the whole time, and it's not happening. It's not happening. It's holding off, and it kind of feels like it's finally happening in this last series. And then he drives off in a totally functioning car, as you know, a wreck is about to be inbound, about to come. So Barry is an amazing show, and I'm sorry, it's not my favorite show of the year though. That goes to the final season of Better Call Saul, an overall amazing TV show that got its conclusion. Maybe Barry's last season will end up making it for me, and it's not even showing up anymore. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, Better Call Saul season 6 was just the perfect ending to a series for me, and maybe this that bias that the show has ended, but some of these moments were like some of the most memorable and impactful experiences I had with TV and even film this year, where stuff happened and I was just like, I did like a thumbnail face. I was like, oh, what's happening? It was so great. And Barry had the same thing. They're really on the same level. Closely followed by House of the Dragon and Atlanta season 4. So definitely go check out those series. But that brings us to the end of the bracket. 82 shows have been ranked. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, if there's nothing more to do, I hope everyone watching, if you're watching this on the VOD, had a good New Year's Eve and you started good into the new year. And to those of you watching right now, hope you're having a good rest of your night. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Tomorrow I'll be back for another stream on this channel to go over my Letterboxd year in review, and we'll also look at some of the 2023 releases, and then as well over on the Quiet on Set podcast, we'll do a trailer watch and do some stuff over there. And then before I let you go, actually no, I almost forgot. Hold up, let's actually do this real quick. I haven't done the time codes for it just yet, but I can leak to you real quick something fun that we have going on. You might know the person. Wait, so, let me export this real quick before I do show you. Uh, we have this series going on the Quiet on Set podcast, where we get to interview people working in the industry about some of their favorite films. And this month we did, it's the last day of December, you know, all throughout December we did animation as a theme. We do have another 2 episodes to go. I'm just a bit behind when it comes to the editing. If I'm being honest, I'm a bit behind. I'm a bit slow. I'm sorry. But we got an episode with Arturo Sarita, also known as Let Me Explain, and the co-host of the Intercut YouTube channel. So that episode is going live as we speak, and I'll link it in chat so you guys can go check it out straight away. It was a fun one of the highlights to get to do. I also got to talk in the previous episode to the artistic director of the Zurich Film Festival, and it was a lot of fun. Maybe some stuff I can teach this to you guys already watching the stream, because it's a smaller audience here, but we might get to do some fun stuff with the film festival. We might be working with them in the future as well. So lots of promising stuff to come in 2023. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope I see a lot of you along the way, and I'll send you off to this new video. And yeah, just have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. I'll be back already tomorrow, so don't miss me too much. Go watch some TV, or maybe have a drink and hang out with your family, or whatever you want to do. Or go kiss someone. I don't know. Anyways, all right, let's play this out, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Ah, yes. Na, 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 na. Goodbye.